What is up, you guys, and welcome back to another video. This year I started a new brand and I thought it'd be interesting to do a breakdown of all the costs I had associated with starting a brand. Maybe you guys find it interesting or helpful if you want to start your own brand or just have an interest in it, or maybe you don't really care but you just clicked on a video to have a look. The brand I started is basically a beanie brand for now. So we made beanies in different colorways, made in the UK, and I want to talk about that sort of cost. Any brand is going to cost a different amount, but hopefully this might give you guys like a point of reference in terms of cost. Now I'm going to split this into three parts. I want to talk about production, marketing, and content. So when I talk about production, I'm talking about sampling, production, packaging, technical drawings, anything to do with the product in itself. So before you get to the next stage. The first thing I spent money is I spent £65 on Fiverr to basically get what's called a CAD, or like a technical drawing, to kind of illustrate what I was looking to make. I outsource most of my CAD work just because I can't draw, and it's easy for me to pay someone to draw it for me rather than me spending time trying to draw whatever it is I'm trying to draw. I spent a total of £65 for 3 different designs, this sort of checkerboard, and then 2 other designs. And now when it comes to sampling, the sampling cost is super hard to determine. Sampling costs tend to be about 2 to 3 times the cost of one item, unless you're making stuff like knitwear or bags, where sometimes there's a bigger cost associated with sampling. Now, I personally spent £240 on 4 different samples. So I sampled 2 different designs in 2 different colors, so about £60 per beanie. And then after that, I basically negotiated free sampling because I knew I was going to put in a bigger order, and I didn't want to spend like £600 testing out 10 different colorways of a beanie. I'm going to place an order of around this size, but I want free sampling. Now, when it comes to general production, it's very, very hit or miss in terms of how much you're gonna end up spending, because it depends how big the collection is, how much you have to invest and comfortable investing in. In my case, I spent a total of £9,384 on my production, 50% up front, and then 50% once the production was finished and they're ready to get then delivered. The whole deposit thing is quite common, so usually factories will ask for 30% to 50% up front. Very few people will ever ask for 100% up front, but it kind of depends how long you've known the factory for, how good your terms are. So it's quite expensive to start a brand, but I guess it's an investment that hopefully will pay off. In terms of neck tags, labels, and packaging, I personally use woven labels in my beanies, and they come in at about 10p per label. Most label factories won't make less than 500. In terms of packaging, I packaged all my stuff in what's called glassine paper bags. It's a bit similar to like if you go for pick and mix at a petrol station. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a paper bag, and I spent £167 on 1,500 bags. In total comes to about 0.21 pence per item for label and packaging. Now, I left all my packaging unbranded, but if you want to add branding to it, it could be a little bit more expensive. Second up, we've got marketing. Now, obviously marketing, you can spend 0 on, or you can spend $1 million on it. Marketing is such a broad topic. I kind of break it into 2 parts: free marketing and paid marketing. The free marketing is obviously anything you can do to spread it on social media, making TikToks about it, posting on Instagram, giving it to your friends, or what you call KOLs, which is key opinion leaders. Now, I don't technically use much paid advertising because I've obviously got the YouTube channel to push it, I've got my social media, so I don't need to invest that much money into paid spend. But a lot of people will spend money on stuff like Facebook ads, paid ads in magazines, or they'll have pop-up stores to kind of get the product out. But there's kind of a gray area between free marketing and paid marketing, which is influencer seeding. Do you like the product? Do you want a free beanie for some content? And if they say yes, then obviously you've got the cost of the beanie, in my case, and then the cost of shipping it to the influencer. I've spent around £1,500 on product cost for seeding, and then another, I think, £800 in shipping. I'm in a fortunate position where I've got a lot of contacts from the industry, so I can ship them out to friends. But obviously some influencers work on a paid system, so they'll want to get paid to promote your product. Now, all of this aside, I think free marketing usually works the best in some ways. So making sure you build a strong brand that people want to talk about, it'll naturally spread through sort of organic reach and word of mouth. My whole concept was to basically call the brand Sundays. So you can only buy it on Sundays for 24 hours. If people go, I like the beanie, where's it from? It's from a brand called Sundays, but you can only buy it on a Sunday. So anything you can do to sort of differentiate yourself from other brands and market is obviously going to help you guys a lot in terms of getting more organic reach and word of mouth spreading a bit more. So you guys don't have to spend thousands of pounds on paid ads, Facebook ads, and stuff like that. Now the last pillar I've got in terms of the brand is what I've called content. I guess most people would call it content. Basically anything you do in terms of pictures, videos, TikToks, you name it. I'll have a mixture of sort of professionally shot stuff for e-com, and I'll have some more casual stuff shot for Instagram or TikTok or just general brand stuff. Definitely recommend you guys to learn how to shoot stuff yourself. So if it is your first brand or project, pick up the camera yourself, because in the future it means that you don't have to then spend money on a photographer unless you want to shoot something very, very special. So I personally spent £2,380 on content for the beanies, probably more than I should have spent. Model 1, £500. Model 2 was a friend of mine who I flew in from New York for the shoot. £1,100 on the flight tickets, £500 on video editing for 7 reels, where I hired a friend to do it, £180 on professional flat lace of the beanies, and then I spent £100 on film rolls and development. I definitely could have spent less money, but I wanted to work with my friends and I wanted to pay them an industry rate and not sort of rely on favors to get the job done. So you finally got into your final product, you're all finished, you've got the content to do it, and now you've got to build a website. Websites you can build pretty easily on Shopify. You can either use like a free template they've got and then just use YouTube to sort of navigate how to set it up. I'll recommend the free one to begin with, unless you have a very specific sort of brand aesthetic you want to go for. I personally did not spend anything. I just tweaked Shopify myself to make it look like a nice, simple landing page. And now the last thing I spent money on, which you don't necessarily have to, is a recognizable domain name. So basically I wanted to call it sundays.xyz because sundays.com would be way too expensive. I spent a total of £2,100 on sundays.xyz. We did try to buy running.com from my other brand. However, the guy literally said, I will not take any offers for less than 6 figures. So I think he just aimed for someone to come along and say, this domain is important to me, so I'm going to spend that much money on it. To summarize all that, I basically spent about £15,000 on everything to do with the brand before ever selling any products. And I felt quite comfortable because I've built a brand before. I had sort of a direct channel to market and I had a product that I thought was great. Hopefully it'll do well. But one of the main things I will say is a lot of brands never make it off the ground. And that's not me trying to be negative. Some brands, they take off and they make loads of money, but a lot of brands never really manage to turn a profit. I hope this was helpful. I would encourage everyone who's interested in starting a brand to basically make like a list and outline the main things that you're going to be spending money on, how much money you've got, how much you're willing to spend, and then probably add another sort of 20% on top of that. I hope you guys thought this was helpful or interesting. If you guys have a brand of your own, I would love to see them. So drop them in the comments below and I'll see you guys in the next video.